Hey, Mike.
Hey.
This kind of has been a surprise hit for me.
Yeah.
I didn't expect people to love this format so much, but
You think
right.
people like more creative shit, but what can I tell you?
Yeah, I'm pretty sad that we have an M rank with one view, and I'm pretty sure it was my wife. But this works too. Actually, it's become actually a pretty fun format. So we can count how many people prefer one director over the other. Totally one-sided and shit. But I'm sure somebody will vote my way.
Yeah.
So last time you were a guest. So this time I'm bringing one.
Who do you got?
Mr. Jeff Boatblum.
Ooh. We did get a little both.
Yeah.
Yay!
How you doing?
Good. I'm a little upset at both of you. You've been doing the show for 3 years, and you just now get me on. Like,
We're very lazy people.
Yeah. For one side, we're so busy we cannot really do this on a regular schedule basis, and we're just too young at the beginning to do this. We had to wait for you to grow up a bit into your movie taste.
That's fair. But no, I'm really excited for this. I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, Mike. So since you started last time, I'll do the honors this time.
Do it.
If you guys see that I am typing during this, it's because I'm trying to Google movie posters. So this is more like interactive.
You're answering work emails.
Yes. I cannot get offline 24/7, always checking on my workers. Let's do this. First question. What's the movie or movie moment that started your love for film?
All right. This one was kind of easy for me because, I always liked movies, but there was a specific movie that, this was the first time I started paying attention to who a director was, besides just knowing the name Steven Spielberg. Inception. Inception was the movie. Because I knew Steven Spielberg, but Inception was the first movie that caused me to pay attention to a different director and okay, what else has this guy done? And then I watched through all of Nolan's filmography at the time. This was before Interstellar had come out, but it was after Dark Knight Rises because I didn't see Inception in theaters.
Okay.
But yeah, this one, I think it's partially because of this was a movie I had not seen a movie anywhere near like this. I know it's now people point out Inception's derivative of stuff like The Matrix and Perfect Blue and all this other stuff, but at the time, being a 12-year-old kid who hadn't seen a ton of movies, this blew my mind. That hallway fight scene is incredible, but then also the more intellectual stuff with the layers of dreams and all that. It was a movie I had to watch over and over again because I wanted to figure out if I could see if Leo was still in the dream or not.
Yeah, this is a very out of left field one for me, for this director, because Nolan had always done interesting films, but I think he had never reached so far into non-reality, subjectivity and dreams as he did for this movie. I think he has been exploring more of that with his next movies. Definitely there's some in Interstellar and now Tenet that eventually will open. Definitely explore more of this kind of fantastic thing. But yeah, Inception was actually pretty great. I actually went for Ellen Page and stayed for Tom Hardy.
That's fair. Tom Hardy is fantastic in the movie.
Okay. Next question.
Question 2. What's the first movie you remember seeing in theaters?
Okay, it's about to get a little odd. So there's a specific reason why I remember seeing this movie in theaters. The movie is 2003's Brother Bear, and I was 4 at the time. And there's a very specific reason why I have vivid memories of this, and it's because we had gone to this theater, and it was a theater we hadn't really been to before, and it was one of those theaters that's also inside of a mall. And basically, my mom had taken me, and she didn't want to go out through the mall because we had parked by the theater section. So she tried to find an exit like within the actual like room, like the actual screening room. Long story short, we got locked in the theater for like an hour.
That's amazing.
How big was this
And
theater?
that legitimately like made me hate this movie as a child. I refused to watch it again because I associated it with being locked in a room for an hour. So I did not go back to this movie until I was like a little older, like until I was like 9. I did watch the direct-to-DVD sequel though millions of times
Dude,
because Mandy Moore's in that one, which is wild.
have you seen this one, Mike?
I've seen it once, and it was a long time ago. I've never went back to it.
I think this movie actually gets kind of a bum rap. It's not great in any given form, and it did come after Lilo and Stitch, which is the superior film. But I don't know. People tend to say like this movie really sucks, and I think it's okay. I think it's very middle of the road Disney. It's not what we were accustomed from the 90s, so it felt a little like a downstep, but it's better than most of the 60s and 70s, to be sure. And Joaquin Phoenix is pretty great in. So, also, we in Panama no longer have theaters that are not in malls. The last one died a year ago. So, yeah, every time I want to watch a movie now, I have to walk through the damn mall. It's horrible.
That actually sounds not great.
Number 3. If you could pick one movie from any era to be able to see in theaters on the big screen, which movie would you choose?
This was a hard one because I had to kind of look. Did I want to do like one of just the giant blockbusters, like the big effects specials? And then I was looking like, what are some of my favorite movies that I really love, but they have such a grand scale that I would love to see that grand scale in theaters. And this, I feel like this is a weird pick. I'm going with It's a Mad, 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 Mad World.
Oh, okay.
This is one of those, like, I call it an epic comedy in a sense of it is like the classic epics. Like, it feels so large and so grand. You got all these different intertwining stories. It's such a fun. I love like wacky race movies in general. It's why I love the cartoon Wacky Races as a
Wacky
kid.
Racer, yay!
Yeah, Wacky Racers. I watched that on Boomerang all the time as a kid, and that's part of the reason why I love this movie. But I also think it's just legitimately one of the funniest comedies ever made, and the actual like effects that they use are like very grand because they actually had to do this stuff. Like when the gas station gets destroyed, it like they actually destroyed a gas station, and like that's amazing. And like the stuff with the plane, and it's like a very grand film. It's very epic, and that's something that I would love to see on the big screen, especially with like a crowd, because I think comedies are just generally better with crowds.
Oh, for sure.
This is one that I actually haven't been able to see. I have seen clips of it here and there. And for some ungodly reason, I actually paid to see Rat Race.
I don't hate Rat Race. I kind of like Rat Race.
Rat Race is fun. Rat Race is fun.
No,
Rat
it's not, guys.
It's
No.
not perfect. It's not perfect, but it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of like legitimate good moments in there.
I might be in the minority here where I really hated that movie. Maybe that affected my interest in watching Mad World. Did you watch this, Mike?
Yeah, it's a really fun, really wacky, epic, as Boatman called it. It is an epic comedy. It is so much fun.
Okay. Number 4, Mike.
Did you get to experience movie rentals? VHS, DVD?
I actually did. Because Iowa is slower than most places. So we're about 3 years behind the rest of the United States. So we had family video. I've never stepped foot inside a Blockbuster because Iowa was that's just was the main market in the Midwest was family video,
Family
especially
video.
in 2000. And that's what I had. So yeah, that's what my experience is. Especially that was like a big thing for us because they had one of their big like draws was that they had free movies for kids. Like if they were like the like little kids movies, so like movies that were for like 6-year-olds, and I was like 6, you would get to rent those for free with another purchase. So my dad could get whatever he wanted, and then I would get a movie for me. And that was kind of a big draw at the time because I got to like pick out different movies that I was like, I want to see this.
Sorry, we gotta adopt that.
When I was a
These
kid,
videos for the kids.
every time I went with my dad to the video stores, he let me pick whatever I wanted, no matter the age, no matter the rating. That was great. But as soon as my sister was born, it was all like, well, I'm taking these 2 movies for me and 1 for you too. So pick between the 2 of them. And my sister was like, I want to see Strawberry Shortcake. And I'm like, no. It was always kind of an issue, which was kind of a bad move on his part because he always rented multiples for himself. It sucks. So I guess this is kind of a little redundant, but what's your favorite video store?
I mean, by default, family video.
Is this the one that had porn, Mike?
This is the one that had porn, but I was not aware of that at the time because I didn't know what porn was when I was 7.
I believe Cody brought that up.
Yeah. Maybe that's why he was his favorite too.
What was the first movie you chose to rent by yourself with your own money?
Okay. Because this was one where I had to like dig into my memory a little bit, and I still wasn't positive between which of the 2, but I'm pretty sure that it was actually "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?"
Oh, fucking awesome!
Because this was after I had seen Inception, and I was starting to get into like more filmmakers, and I wanted to get into the Coen brothers. Because I had never seen. Actually, no, I had seen True Grit, but that was the only Coen Brothers movie I had seen at the time because my dad loves both versions of True Grit. But Oh Brother, Where Art Thou was like the first movie that I was like, I am trying to seek out more movies from this director. I want to watch this movie, and I went and I rented Oh Brother, Where Art Thou for $1. Got it for 5 days. And I love that movie. It's one of my all-time favorite movies.
Oh, it's quintessential Coen Brothers style too. It is 100%.
It's my favorite Coen Brothers.
It's a great fucking choice.
This is one of those things that feel like only they can make. Like it's so quirky and so specific that it kind of goes broadly, but not really. Like to really like this movie, you have to have a very particular taste. And they have done it both ways. I feel like with movies like Fargo or No Country, or even True Grit, they kind of reach like for a more wide margin.
Yeah.
Then they come and do these things. Actually, my favorite from this period from the Coen Brothers is The Man Who Wasn't There.
That's a fun movie.
A black and white one. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
Yeah.
I haven't actually. That's one of the few blind spots I have with the Coens.
Dude, I watched that movie and I was mesmerized. And I went with my wife, and she was like, "Nope, this is not working for me." And I was like, "Really? This is great." Oh, there it is. So and then I asked like 5 more people that went to see it, and nobody got it. I was like, I felt like that movie was made for a very specific audience, and somehow I was in it. So yeah, I think Oh Brother feels kind of the same way, but this one got me too. I think the Soggy Bottom Boys are pretty great. So, who's your favorite actor?
I feel like this one's kind of going to be obvious if you know anything about me. It is Sam the Man Rockwell.
Oh, yes.
I love Sam Rockwell. I think he's legitimately just one of the best actors in every capacity because he can do like a great dramatic performance, something like like look at him in Moon when he's playing both characters, or Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, or he can do like kind of hybrid comedy drama characters, stuff like The Way Way Back, or Vice is kind of like this hybrid because he's doing like, a really good George W. Bush. I think he's like very close.
Yeah, I think he was better than Josh Brolin in W, actually.
Yeah. I would love to redo W, but with Sam Rockwell as like the main. I think that would be a lot of fun.
And I mean, yeah, you can never forget his best role as Head Thug in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
the man had shot
performance. And then I think the first movie I ever actually saw him in, and it's one of my favorites, is Galaxy Quest.
Oh yeah, fucking love Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest, when he plays Guy, he steals that movie.
Yeah.
That is just such a brilliant idea. What if a red shirt knew he was a red shirt?
Especially when they're going to the planet and then the fucking spaceship. And he's
I thought I was the guy who stays on the ship and then dies on the ship, but now I'm thinking I'm the guy who goes with the crew on the planet to illustrate how big the danger is.
I don't even have a last name. You have a last name.
My last name?
Do I?
And then I love that when they do the show at the actual end, they give him a super long name just to prove that he has a name.
I think he's something like Fleegman or something.
Yeah, Fleegman. It's Guy Fleegman.
Yeah, the actual character name is Guy Fleegman, but like when they do the show, Guy Fleegman's character is like security officer, blah blah blah, and it's great.
That movie actually got me. I went to see it knowing nothing about it. It was one of those things like, well, that's the only thing in the theaters, and I have seen everything else, so let's go see it. And it was hilarious. So,
to sandwich favorite actor, who's your favorite actress?
My favorite actress. This one was actually really tough, but I'm going with Frances McDormand.
Ooh, we got a number 2 on Frances McDormand. I like that.
Ooh, who else picked Frances McDormand? I haven't had a chance to watch everything.
It was
I think it was Brian, right?
Yeah, it was Brian. Yeah, it was literally our last interview.
If you would have asked me if I thought that Brian and I would have any overlap, I would have told you no. But we do. So cool. I love Frances McDormand in just about everything. She can do so many different parts. Like obviously her big roles are like Fargo, which iconic. Yeah. Mark Anderson is one of the most like memorable characters of all time. But then she can take these like really small roles that I feel like people wouldn't appreciate. Like her role in Almost Famous. I feel like you give that to any other actress and she's just the mom. But she had so much to that movie. Like she becomes kind of the heart of that movie in a sense. And then, you get stuff like, I think she's fantastic in like Mississippi Grind, all her other work with the Coen brothers, and Three Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri. She is absolutely excellent in the reason she won the Oscar for that one.
I actually really like Frances McDormand, and she also does a lot of unexpected things. She was in Hell Caesar, right? Like, she the projectionist?
Yeah, she's in there.
The projectionist. The one that gets choked by her own.
Kind of comes with the territory. Yeah. But yeah, she's great, and she also does like really small roles that she pops here and there that you would never expect her, and she's always pretty great.
Yeah.
I actually don't love that much Three Billboards. I do love her performance and Sam Rockwell in it, but I don't know, something about the ending of the movie lost me a bit. But overall, she's pretty great.
I get that.
So, who's your favorite director, and why is it Tim Burton?
It's not Tim Burton. I'm going with another Boatman pick. It took me a long time to realize that, you know what? I think this guy kind of has to be my favorite director. I could go with one of the bigger ones. Like, I love Tarantino. I love Scorsese. I love, the Coens. But I think I got to go with my boy, Mr. Albert Brooks.
Oh,
Interesting pick.
yeah.
I think he's such an interesting filmmaker. Like he does like stuff like Defending Your Life is like this big like fantasy comedy, and I love it, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time. But then he can do like these really sensitive dramas like Modern Romance, which is like that movie is legitimately heartbreaking and funny at the same time, and it's great. And then he can do like these wacky road trip comedies like Lost in America, and then this like he can also do satire. Look at Real Life, which is a movie that came out in 1979. Watch that movie and tell me that doesn't reflect so much about our society today. And it's a satire. Like that movie called so much because that movie basically predicted reality TV. It feels like something that came out in 2008.
Real Life. I gotta check that out. I have not seen that one actually.
I'm glad you brought on Defending Your Life because that was one of the first movies I saw from him that actually really hooked me. That movie is so good and subtle in things that people don't expect. And another one he made that is one of my favorites is Mother. I don't know if you've seen that one.
I've seen Mother is fantastic.
Yeah. And he also actually has shown up as an actor, in other people's movies and in small roles that actually are very impactful because he has a heavy presence when he shows up. He's one of the most memorable things in Drive, and that movie had Ron Perlman and Ryan Gosling and Oscar Isaacs. Jesus,
he should have been nominated for Drive. Like
I was so excited. I was gonna be a race car man. Oh, damn it. That's great. Oh,
he's also great in broadcast news. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
That movie has Heisenberg. Now that I remember it too. Oh, okay.
What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie is the 1957 classic 12 Angry Men.
Ooh, I like that choice.
I love. This was kind of the first classic movie that really caught my attention. Like I'd seen It's a Wonderful Life, like I'd seen like the big classics you're supposed to see, but this was like the first one that like nobody told me, hey, this is one of the greatest movies of all time. It was just like, oh, this is an interesting story. I kind of want to see it. Every character in this movie has like their own arc and their performance makes sense and it ties back to like what their job is. Like if you look at When They Vote When, like I've watched this movie so many times and every time I try to focus on a different character and look at that actor's performance and look at when exactly they vote guilty or not guilty, when they change their vote and how that ties back to who they are as a person. I think it's just incredible how much this movie is able to bring like an intensity to just a conversation. Like there's so much stakes in this movie and ultimately nothing's really happening except 12 people are sitting in a room talking. Like that's amazing to me. And it doesn't feel like a stage play, even though it's based on a stage play. The way Sidney Lumet is doing the camera work in this is amazing because as things get more intense, the camera work gets more intense, more close-ups, more like the shots are going like more from the bottom. It's like incredible how claustrophobic the end of this movie feels. And I think my favorite performance is Lee J. Cobb as juror number 3, the last juror to vote not guilty. And he is scene stealing.
I actually only recently saw this movie, like 6 months about. I have a weird story with this one because when I was like in my teens, like in the 90s, they used to show like movie of the weeks in the local channels all the time. And they showed 12 Angry Men as a Sunday movie of the week, but not this 12 Angry Men. They showed one that they made in the 90s with Jack Lemmon and George C. Scott.
Yeah.
And I loved that movie so much. I loved it so much when I saw it because I have never seen the original. And I was like, God, this movie is great. And then when I realized that there was an original like 40 years earlier, it kind of made me a little, I don't know if I'm going to like it as much because, I mean, when you're in your 20s, you don't watch black and white movies. Well, maybe both does, but you don't really like. But eventually, I did, and now at my almost 40 years old, I finally watched it, and yeah, I think definitely the superior version of the story, and so well acted, like you said. Like everybody has like a very small little things that give their character more weight.
Come on, guys. You know the superior version is Pauly Shore's Jury Duty. Okay.
The remake was directed by William Friedkin.
Yeah.
Ooh,
And it was
I
a
didn't know
TV movie. It was a TV movie, man. That's weird. Because it has like a bunch of good actors. And Ossie Davis is also in it.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of very good actors doing a TV movie, which is surprising. Okay. This is funny because you're the youngest person we've interviewed and you picked the oldest movie. Easy question. Spielberg movies or Burton movies? Come on.
I really enjoy a lot of Tim Burton movies. That being said, there are way more Spielberg movies that I hold close to my heart that I gotta give it to Spielberg.
You're scaring me there for a second, but is this gonna be the day?
It's hard because I legitimately really enjoy Ed Wood, and I really enjoy Edward Scissorhands. Like, there are a lot of Burton movies that I really enjoy, but like Catch Me If You Can was one of the that's my favorite Spielberg. That was like a super formative film in my movie taste. Like, I think that kind of is what got me to love like crime caper movies. That's why I love movies like Ocean's 11 and like just I love heist movies. I love crime movies, and I think it's because of Catch Me If You Can. And then obviously Jaws, and I love Last Crusade. I think is one of the best action movies ever made. It's hard though because I think Burton has made a lot of movies, and I think I saw more Burton growing up because I was growing up in the Alice in Wonderland era. I saw Alice in Wonderland in theaters, so I saw the lesser Burton, right? Like,
yeah,
makes sense.
Like, I have seen the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory more than I have seen Willy Wonka.
I don't hate that one. I think the music is pretty great. Yes, Johnny Depp is doing something completely different than everybody else in the movie. But I actually really like the Oompa Loompas with Roy, that everybody looks the same. And the songs from Danny Elfman are pretty good. But yeah,
it's not great. But if you ask me which one I would rather watch right now, I would rather watch. I think Willy Wonka is better. I would rather watch Charlie right now.
Oh damn!
Wild
man. Did you get to see Frankenweenie in the theaters?
I never saw it in theaters. Actually, I didn't see that one until like later because I don't know why I think the way they marketed that movie was like really off. I think they made that movie look stupider than it was, and 12-year-old me said, that looks like little kid stuff. I don't want to see that. But I watched it like 2 Halloweens ago for the first time. That movie's delightful. That is a very fun movie.
I actually had the same thing when I was growing up. I remember I liked Corpse Bride better for some reason. I was like, Corpse Bride was more original, more this and that, more adult maybe. But I just recently saw them because I'm watching those movies with my kid now. And I was like, damn, I was wrong. Corpse Bride is okay. I like it still. It's a good movie, but Frankenweenie is pretty sweet.
Yeah. I really like Frankenweenie. I like all the references to they make a lot of specific Universal Monster movie references. Yeah. And I really like that. And I'm glad that I saw that movie after I had gone on like a Universal Monster marathon.
That's actually very fair. So,
Kurt Russell, yes or no?
Who would say no?
Exactly.
Wait, Nazario, do you not like Kurt Russell?
I did not put this question in the thing. He did. I think he only wanted to get something that people will always get yes.
Fair. I'm going to give you both an aneurysm, though, because I think my favorite Kurt Russell movie, that's actually probably not true, but
The
the one
World's
I
Strongest
watched,
Man.
what?
The World's Strongest Man is your favorite.
No,
I
the
want
one
to
I
say
watched,
there is no wrong answer for a favorite Kurt Russell movie. There is no
I
wrong
think
answer.
favorite, not best, but favorite has to be Sky High. That movie was just, I watched it
It's
so
a fun fucking movie.
It's
It is a really
fun
fun
movie.
fucking movie.
Like, and that movie played on Disney Channel nonstop in the mid to late 2000s. So I saw that movie a lot, and I really enjoy that one.
I don't hate that movie. That's the best I can do. So,
Fair.
Hey, our next question has something to do with Sky High as well.
fair.
Coach Boomer.
Bruce Campbell.
Call him Coach Boomer.
Yes, no, or groovy.
Groovy. Like, Ash is legitimately one of the best, maybe best, if not the best, horror movie characters of all time.
Yeah. Goddamn right he is.
This is actually somebody who I love that he shows up in things that you don't expect. In a recent episode of M Rank, actually, he tied 3 of his roles tied for the first place in something.
Yeah.
Go watch the other show, guys. It's fun. So yeah, he's always kind of like the goofy thing that shows up and nobody expects to actually work, and it always works. So next question. Oh, I think it's the final question,
Yeah,
right?
we always ended off with you recommending 2 movies people wouldn't expect from you.
All right. So I'm going to start with one, probably the movie most recently that I was surprised that I enjoyed as much as I did, which is, I think this is a movie that most people have seen, but I feel like there are some people who maybe haven't because they're reluctant because they think it's kind of a dumb action movie, and it's way smarter than I think people sometimes give it credit for. Demolition Man.
Yeah. Fucking A, man.
Is like legitimately an incredible satire.
Yeah.
Like, look at that movie in the context of today, and that movie is kind of incredible. But like, just the comedy is excellent. Sandra Bullock is super funny in that movie. And Stallone, I think Stallone is a better comedic actor than he is like a dramatic actor.
Yeah.
I think
He's got
like,
great comedic chops.
yeah, like he legitimately, I want to see the world in which Stallone doesn't become like the action star, and he more just does like goofy comedies. Like he has a career closer to like, honestly, yeah, I don't quite know who, but like just a career closer to like just the big comedy star. Like I want to see that universe because I think he actually makes a lot of good comedies.
This is one of those movies that stick with you. I mean, when I saw this, I was just a teenager, but I love every single thing. This is one of the few movies that I can actually tell you that his character is named John Spartan, and the other character is named Simon Phoenix. And it has time traveled in a way because it's like a frozen thing, but yeah, it's still like a futuristic movie.
I'm sorry, it's the better version of Austin Powers. I'm saying that right now.
It is. That's actually fair. And it has a bunch of people in weird small roles that you would think like, really? Like Benjamin Bratt shows up for like a really hot second there.
Oscar nominee Nigel Hawthorne is the villain in this movie.
And even Rob Schneider is kind of like, okay. This did not make me want to throw the movie out the window.
Hi, I'm Rob Schneider. How would you like to ruin the movie today?
Esta hamburguesa es de rata. Rat? This is a rat burger? This movie is fun in a bottle. I really love it. And like you said, it's like something you can just watch and rewatch. There's actually a funny bit. I don't know if you guys know this. At the time of the release of this movie, Taco Bell was not an international thing. It was just a United States thing. So for the Taco Bell scene, in all of the international release, including Panama, we instead got Pizza Hut.
Ooh.
Like all the Taco Bell logos and stuff, everything is covered up. I don't know if it's digitally or manually because it's in the 90s, but everything is like Pizza Hut, Pizza Hut, Pizza Hut. And when they serve the food and it looks like weird small Mexican things, I was like, what? How is that a Pizza Hut thing? But yeah, it's actually pretty fun. If you can, you go to YouTube and you say like Demolition Man Pizza Hut, you can see that it's pretty funny.
All right. The other one, I feel like this is a movie that people hate, and I expected to hate it. I don't. Not Another Teen Movie. I think it's legitimately funny.
Yes.
Like that's a legitimately good satire of like 80s coming of age movies, like the John Hughes era and the 90s American Pie era. And I think it's like legitimately funny. And I think it gets roped into like the Friedberg and Seltzer movies, which is not, but people think it is because it has the word movie in the title. But I think this one is super fun. Chris Evans shows that he actually like legitimately has comedic chops in this.
Your wife. No.
Like I think this movie's super fun. Like it's not perfect. There are flaws, but I think this movie is trying. This movie's trying so many jokes, and a lot of them hit. Like it's a joke a minute, a joke a second movie, and I respect those kinds of movies.
Dude, I have to say that it's like that. It's like it's way funnier than people give it credit for. Honestly, out of all those movies, I think the two that I can say definitely I consider good movies are this one and the first Scary Movie. Other than that,
I enjoy the second Scary Movie.
The second one?
Yeah.
Well, I did like the part when the cat attacks her and she comes out of the room screaming, "My pussy has gone crazy." But other than that, this one actually is just. It's like a lot of, like you said, like a mile a minute is going on, and it has so many good things on it, like the joke from Varsity Blues that the guy has the countdown of how many injuries he can get before he just dies, and it's the same actor from Varsity Blues. And then they got Jamie Presley being the bitch, which is great. Oh, and I don't remember her name, the girl who plays like the Cruel Intentions version of Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Hmm.
And she grabs Chris Evans like, I just want to sleep with you. Like, but we're brother and sister. And she's like, only by blood. It's like, what?
And then this movie, I want to shout out the soundtrack of this movie because it has a legitimately good soundtrack. You've got like all these pop punk bands from the early 2000s doing the iconic songs from the 80s movies. And I think that kind of really sets the tone. Like you get Mess version of "I Melt With You," which is originally from Valley Girl. You get Good Charlotte's version of "If You Leave" from Pretty in Pink. You get a version of "Somebody's Baby." Like I think
Marilyn Manson is in this one. I don't remember the cover, but it's a good one.
Yeah, I don't remember what it is either, but yeah, there is a Marilyn Manson song on the soundtrack, and Good Charlotte actually makes a cameo in the movie, which is wild.
Tainted Love. It's Tainted Love.
Yes, that's right.
That's actually pretty sweet. Yeah. I have to admit, I was both surprised with both your picks.
Yeah.
And the more surprising part is that I like those movies.
I think it's probably because the areas that people don't expect me to like are the Mike and Nazario movies.
Exactly. The good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was very good and very instructive. So actually, this was a great, actually pretty good interview. I really liked it. I could tell the 12 Angry Men's coming because you have talked about that a lot. But other than that, man, I have to say I'm pleasantly surprised. So, clapping for the boat. We got the boat today, and it's been fun. I'd like to thank everybody who actually watched this, because I don't know how many people we're actually getting. Mike, how many views are we getting now? Like 5?
Yeah, usually 5 or 6.
Well, and as you know, we have to get the copyright strikes, or we don't get actually any other fun out of this. So let's do this. Thanks to Mike. Thanks, Little Boat. And we'll see you next week with more interviews on the great, most originally named show in the internet. Call to an interview. See you soon.